Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. In the previous video, I've been looking at the redevelopment of the hub and the connections and simplifying it. But simplifying it might be a rather misleading word when I've come across a ever so wafer thin discrepancy, and it's in the manner, and it's something that really does harken back to when I've been talking about the accuracy and precision of SketchUp's ability to measure things, and realizing that my settings were getting in my way, and I thought that it couldn't measure that well, but yes it can, very very well in fact. And I've had to use that recently added bit of knowledge to actually prove to myself and to show to you what it is that I'm banging on about. And as I said, the SketchUp does not draw curves. I've said that many times. It draws straight lines joined together in a manner that visually look like a curve, just as we have here. I'm going to go into the model of the entity info and have a look at this, and we've got 72 tiny little lines that make up that curve, the representation of the curve. You can alter this, but I don't want to at this stage. It becomes more resource hungry as well, by the way, and I have limited it to 72 because it visually looks quite good and it has proved reasonable. 36, 72, one of those multiples. This line, for all intents and purposes, all these lines look like they're drawn on the face or on the surface of the hub. Well, not so much. It is such a tiny amount that I understand you would say it is, and so would I. But because it's not, you've got to be jolly careful about how you can build into your model the tiniest little error that initially may not be a problem but will eventually bite you. And that's what happened here. I drew a line which I knew was, in fact, I'll just show you the point that I was making, and I'll move that up a little bit because you need to see. Whoops, you have to move that, David. Move it vertically. How much? Ooh, about there, say. Right. Hide that. We've got a guide running through the surface of the hub. If I click the line tool, I can find the intersection of said guide and the surface of the hub. I click that, draw it up vertically to the edge, and I'm happy. It's on the surface of the hub. Yeah, but not actually at the radial distance of the hub. The what? Let's have a look. Remember those 72 little lines? Well, there's a join, there's a part of the start of a line there, and there's the start of a line there, and it's this line I've just drawn, that black one, very close to the center point of that line. So end point in the group, end point in the group, etc. Now, if I were to rotate that line around the center, and I'm going to go from that point there to say that point there, this alignment here. You may not have been able to see me doing that, so, and I hide that, and how come I can't see my line here, but when I rotate it I can start to see it? That should never happen. Oh yes, it will when you've done just what I've done. Let's zoom in. Oh, it's disappeared again. Where is it? Oh, hang on. I can on my screen just, oh, there, it's a little line coming about. Oh, can't. It's inside my flaming thickness of my hub. Now, there. Oh, I'll turn the X-rays on. X-ray vision. There it is. There. It has been buried in the hub by. Well, it looks quite a bit there, but I can show you it is tiny. It's amazing that it can be even represented. So, in the drawing program. Anyway, I'm going to delete that because I don't want to get caught out. What is the difference? Now you can see the difference. It's this tiny little amount. This line is at 57 millimeters from the center line of the hub. This is the correct position for the line. At that point there where the segment of line that make up the air quotes curve, that is also 57 millimeters. So what's this distance here? Well, I can tell you what that distance is, and it is approximately 51/1000ths of a millimeter. It's half of 1/10 of a millimeter. So you can see why you roll your eyes and you say, David, don't be so bloody fussy with your measurements. Well, hang on. Didn't you see what happened when I rotated that line, which I innocently created on the surface at this point? Well, when it gets rotated to a different point, it'll only have to be rotated to here, which is your maximum, which is your correct position for your 57 millimeters radius. It will disappear inside the hub. Okay, so how do we test that? Well, I can draw a line from there. Oops, I actually do not really want to do that. How did I do it last time? I've forgotten how I did it. Oh my giddy aunt. Well, let's have a look at this. If I go there, make a guide, I can get rid of that line, make a line there. Look in the bottom right hand corner. What is it telling you? 0. Oh, great. Come up to Window, Model Info, Units, increase the precision to 3 decimal places. This is of a millimeter, remember. Now let's re-examine that. Bottom right hand corner, 0.053 of a millimeter. So that's half of 1/10 of a millimeter, something like that. It's 50 thou mil. So that is really, really small. But you could see how it impacted the drawing. Ignoring it or being ignorant of that catches you out. But you don't. 99.9. Pick a figure. Oh, that number of the times that you use it, you'll never have a problem, or this issue. But when it does, you've got to be aware of it, counter it, allow for it, whatever you have to do. But you can't ignore it because it will bite you. So that tiny, tiny little distance, as I draw it out here, you can't even read the damn thing. Where are hide? There we go. Whoops. 0.053 millimeters. So, this is why I did that, because I already showed you in the bottom right hand corner. That was just to show that SketchUp does measure and draw very, very accurately. Whereas when I was banging on about poor old SketchUp not being able to do this sort of thing, it was my settings, because I don't need to know the fractions of a millimeter generally, and therefore I set my precision to 0 with the increments of 1 millimeter. You'd have to look at my other videos about that, but there we go. We can now move ahead, hopefully, and get some more precision into this model without it catching me unawares. And what I'm doing at the moment is, I'll just get rid of the guides, I'm angling the screws to the correct angle for this particular hub assembly. Not overly complicated, but I wanted to have it as accurate as possible, so that, as you can see here, when I change the colors, that's indicating that something has altered. So this interface piece has had to been lifted a few millimeters to accommodate the screw going through it. So if I didn't, as I rotated the screw, it would hit this. So I've lifted it so it runs through the center. I can make note of that, and then when I go to create the hubs, I have that knowledge at hand, and I'll be able to relate the position that a pilot hole may need to be drilled in the end of the timber, because I'm doing the work here, because these struts will be pre-drilled slightly different from maybe their adjacent strut. So, or I adjust the hole on the steel hub, which I think would be much harder to do, so I might as well just do it in the timber. Anyway, you don't need to know that. So now I'll leave you alone. You can go do what you do, and I will carry on mucking around trying to make life hard for myself with this. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.